Hey everybody, Corey here. I'm going to go over the trades and holdings for Friday, September 13th. Friday the 13th, if none of you noticed before. Anyway, just a reminder, I'm not a qualified licensed investment or financial advisor. I am a spreadsheet person, okay? So I'm just gathering this data and presenting it to you. I don't suggest you take like investment advice from me. I yeah, I'm just a spreadsheet person, okay? So I'm here to give you all this data, and then you take that data and then you can make your own decisions from there, okay? So just a reminder, YieldMax ETFs are extremely risky, so make sure that you've done your due diligence in researching these, reading them prospectus, reading the risks, and everything else. All right, sorry my stuff's out of order. I realized I didn't have one of the trading days on here when I was going to go do something else. However, I'm not going to do anything else because then I won't ever get around to my videos, and that's what happens. So, yeah. So we're going to do the trades. We're going to go back and forth. There's so many trades. I just hid the other tab that I normally have during the week because we're going to have to actually go to the trades tabs for these because there's going to be so much back and forth. For those that are new, this is going to be a long video, okay? These can be long videos, not always. Depends on, I guess, your definition of long. When I say long, maybe an hour, I don't know. But we have lots of trades to go over. Our ETFs, they're growing, so it just takes a little bit longer time. And then I have a few changes, and I know I talked a little bit about, I know we've had a lot of changes the last few weeks, so this is going to make this longer because we've talked about our new strategy with the bought calls on top of the normal, sold short calls that we have. And oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mention, I'm sitting outside and it's starting to get a little windy. Honestly, I hope this isn't bad, and I'm sorry if it is. I just really needed some fresh air and sunlight, so I had to get out of the RV and come outside. But we've had lots of new strategies. I say lots of new strategies. We had the new strategy within as far as how we're selling and buying the calls, and then we have our new schedules, so that's changing some things up and everything. So we've talked about that, and then of course SMCY is our new ETF. So we've had lots of things going on this past week, and for those that you still haven't noticed or seen me mention it, the past, I don't know, month or so, the tax loss harvesting that's going on within YMAX for Moderna. So, if you don't know, it tells you in the prospectus, that they can do tax loss harvesting. And then I know it's been in one of the interviews that Jay has done that he, lets you know you won't just be missing out altogether. What they do is they'll get rid of that ETF, they'll sell the ETF, so in this case it was Murney, and then they do covered call strategies within, in this case, the yield, in the YMAX ETF for Moderna. So you're still getting that exposure while they're doing that. So we have lots of things going on. I know I have been out, and keep saying I'm going to do a separate video, and I don't, but I'll try to do. Long story short, real quick, a lot of medical stuff going on, a lot of military work going on, a lot of civilian work going on. We're coming into year end. If you don't know, government goes from October 1st to September 30th. So we're going into year end and year open. And with me being in budget, I have lots of things to do. So I'm working extra overtime for the next, or comp time, whatever. Y'all understand it as overtime, I think. Sorry, I've been in the government military world too long. So yeah, I'm extremely busy over the past month and going into the next month, and the reason this even started me doing this daily this week is because Monday I was like, okay, I'm going to do it this week because this is what I've been thinking. I'll do it on Monday so people can see where we're going out through the week. And when I did that, that's when I didn't, that's when the new prospectus came out, and then I had to do a follow-up video with the changes, and then I've just been trying to make changes throughout the week. So anyway, I know, lots of stuff there, but getting into here now, we have our ETFs. We'll have the long single stock ETFs first in order, alphabetical order, and then we will have the short ETFs, and then we will have YBET at the end. These are in alphabetical order, so if there is, in those sections, so you can fast forward until you get to the ETFs you want to watch. You don't have to watch all of them because I'm sure this is going to be an hour or so long video. I'm trying to get this done before I go to my daughter's competition, hours away and back, because I know it's not going to get done if I don't do it now. All right. And then we may have some other new people, and I haven't done this in quite a bit, but on our single stock ETFs here, the ones that are not short, meaning we're expecting the market to go up, the stock to go up. We want here for our synthetic price $110. We prefer for our stock price to be above this. It's not always possible depending on the expiration and when these were put on. And then for our short calls, we prefer for the stock price to be right at that price, to be honest with you. I know we always say below it, but we want it to get to like the 120 in this case. We don't want it to go above. We really don't want it to go below, because if it goes below, then our YieldMax ETF stock price goes lower. But if it goes above the 120, then we're losing out on some upside and we're capped. So obviously we can't get what we want. It's got to be one way or the other. 99.9% of the time it will be. So to put that out there, we have lots of things, lots of columns, lots of information here, but I do not read through every single thing here. I will state that I was in the middle of changing. I mentioned this the other day on the video, and I've only added one thing to the side. I did leave it open for another thing, and I can see that it all still fits on one screen, so I can see. My goal is to make sure at least we see one ETF right on a screen, the whole thing. We don't want to be between different screens here. We still have several lines if we wanted to add more information on the left, but as you can see, the greens on the left, I added here the next distribution declaration date. Just because now we're going to be moving around, so if y'all don't know, so I have recreated this, the distribution schedule here on the left with the tickers, the group they're in, and then it has the dates. In fact, actually, this is actually it over here on the right. The declaration date, the ex-dividend date, the pay date, the way they gave it to us through the end of the year. Now, I started dragging it and then started going through here and, adding more dates, and then I just sort of stopped. I don't think I think I've accounted for the holidays that were already here. But I might have missed one or two. So these down here in yellow are after January or after December may not be 100%. But I did it on the thing, right? They're doing Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So Wednesday is the deck date. The ex-dividend date is Thursday, and the pay date is Friday, with the exception if it's a holiday, right? So a holiday does fall on a few of these, so, they're adjusted for that, and that's what I did in the future ones, unless I missed a holiday, because I wasn't looking at a schedule or anything, just to let you know. But anyway, so then I was trying to do all these fancy formulas, and my head was tired, and so I just made separate columns here on my spreadsheet for A, B, C, D. So then, and then of course have the tickers at this moment at the top. I don't know that I need it, but I did it. And And then I have all the dates for all of those tickers there. But for my formula purposes, what I did is I have a list over here, and then it's telling me, I'm not using the last date yet, so you do see that's up there, because I'm going to use that in future formulas I haven't gotten to yet. But anyway, I have the ticker, the group, and then their next distribution date, which I'm sure y'all don't care about all of this. But just to go over our craziness of the dates now, right? What we have, 1, 2, 3, so we have 8. About, with the exception of the 1 week right now, we have 8 tickers paying out every week. And so with that said, I did mention this in another video. Of course, you may not have seen that one. So that means distributions for a ticker is every 4 weeks. So there may be months that you get 2 distributions for 1 ticker because, you know, it's every 4 weeks. And we know there's more than 4 weeks in a month, right? There's what, 4.3 if we divide that out. I don't remember which month that is. I think it's December. Yeah, December. Like, for instance, here, December 2nd. For these tickers, you get paid December 2nd and December 30th, you know. So it's every 4 weeks and not necessarily monthly now. So back to where I started. So I've put the next declaration date here for that ticker, so you'll see it as we go down here when you're looking at your ticker. And then, like I said, I have another line there. I know I had a couple of other thoughts. I did think about putting, so with some of these we have our bought calls on, and I was like, oh, I should put this over here because, like, I do the market value of these, and so, but I decided not to. It doesn't mean now that I see I have more room, I still could. I don't know that y'all care, though, to be honest. I don't know. Maybe you do because you want to say, okay, if we have our short call and our bought call, of course, in this case, you only have 1 of each. Some of these, like Coney, you have like 5 of each. But, I don't know, maybe you want to see those over there. So, this is where I need y'all's feedback and your opinion. So, like here, of course, they just closed all of these out here. But, you know, so here you have multiple ones here. And maybe you just want to be able to look at, okay, what's our short call and what's our bought call, the sum, without having to go over here and look at it and add it. So you can see now we have negative 12.3 million and a positive 3.8. So you'd only have 2 numbers to do math on. Versus in the case over here, we have like 5. So I don't know. Let me know if you want the bought call on the left-hand side or for something else pertinent that you think we should have. I know what y'all are going to say. I know what 99% of you are going to say you want over there, and maybe I'll do it. I don't know. I got some work to do in the background before I can do that and things to figure out. But I might do it, and if I do it, it's the first time ever. But it may not be until October, until I get that built. Just if I can make it work. But it's just because of the time that I'm in, and I'm surprised I've even done this many videos this week. I really just planned to make sure I at least got the 1 video out at the first of the week so you could see where we were at, and then I've gotten into doing more than that. I think I didn't do Thursday night, and that's because my husband was home late, so then I didn't get to do the video. So anyway, I'm trying to make sure I get my right amount of sleep. Alright, so that's the changes. The other change was the bought call, is that I swapped this around now. So in this case, it will show red because we're under it. It's not like really making money. Like, obviously, it's going to be positive over here on the right, but just like our short calls are always going to be negative, but it's not like above the 24.50 where we're making even more money. So, all right, I think that's the changes that I have made. And then over here, I will say another change. If you're just looking like on the right-hand side for these short calls, of course I can't see any here that has more than 1 short call up front. Okay, so like here, I did make this now for the possible upside. So if you're just looking, This used to be a negative here. I don't know, maybe I don't know. I took it off, basically. If it's going to be a negative, I took it off of the possible upside because it's not an upside, right? But now that I'm looking at this one with the positives, no, I don't need it. I see the market value per share price, so that's good enough if I even cared. And I'll look at this one in this case with the shares being the same here. Those would cancel each other out. And then that's almost half of that. But anyway, okay. So I think that's the last thing, the last change that I've made. Sorry. I know. Lots of stuff I did this week for somebody that doesn't have a lot of time. I actually did this during my lunch breaks. The sun is starting to actually touch my skin. I don't like that. I might have to go inside before I even get started. All right, so let's just get started now. I know. Y'all hate me, but let's go. Abney here. So it looks like they closed out the 117 and 118 strike prices, and now next week we have a 120 strike price there. So if we go over here, we see we only had the 120. We're under that by 2%. Possible upside for the short call. So again, for those of you that are new, for the short call portion here, we're looking at about a 30-cent upside for Abney. So basically, we have our Airbnb is at 117.75. Our strike price is 120, so we have about 225 in between there, and that equates to our YieldMax ETF Abney of about an upside of about 30 cents. Now, the synthetic is totally different, and I don't have a possible upside here for right, because I mean it's not infinite, but it is at the same time. But your synthetic here can go up, and even if you get maxed out at the 120 strike price for the short call, the synthetic value can keep going up, is what I'm saying. So your even though the capped on the short call part, you're not necessarily capped on the synthetic part, okay? So keep that in mind. All right. And this is going, again, all the information's on the left if you want to see it. All the other information is here in the middle. But that's, unless there's a bought call or other things expiring for the synthetic, this is going to be how we go through these. All right, so we have no trades for AIYY. Oh, and now I just realized, though, if I did I do Thursday's video? Shoot. All right, so I had to come inside to check to get my phone, follow up on all these text messages and my daughter's questions. And it looks like it was Wednesday that I didn't do the video, and then on Thursday I did the trades for Wednesday and Thursday. So thank goodness we just have to look at Friday's trades today. So no AIYY trades. So we'll just look here to see what we have. All right, so we have our short call 23.50, which we're currently under 2%, which is only 50 cents. But then we also have a bought call here, so 24.50. This one's actually, like, it sucks, like the AIYY price where it's at. But this one actually dropped on earnings, like down to $18 and something a week or so ago. And we're at $23. So that's just amazing for this particular stock. Because normally we wouldn't have that. Anyway. So we have the bought call here at the 24.50. We're underneath that 6%. So hopefully, if we do get up, go up above that we're gonna make some money too. But basically, and actually that's the other thing that I was gonna do. But then that's when I started gathering the trades. That's when I noticed a trade missing, and then I went and got the fifth, and that's when I decided I should just do this video or I won't get done. But I was gonna pull together some examples to show you how that worked last week, which basically seemed to reduce the cost that we had to pay to close the short call. But in the end, we still always were having to pay money. I was going to pull some of those examples together. I know I've tried to do it in one of the videos this past week, which this made the video way longer, and then trying to swap through screens, it made things a little confusing. But yeah, so I didn't get one together for today because of that, and I just needed to get this done because I know this is going to take a long time. All right, and I don't know if I mentioned it, but the upside for the short call portion is 19 cents. If we go up 50 cents for AI, then maybe we can go up 19 cents for AIYY, which would put us at $9.10. Again, just the short call portion, not the synthetic portion. Obviously, though, right now we're down 77 cents a share because we're 8% underneath our synthetic. But if we did get above the $25 strike price, then that should bring us up that 77 cents if we got above 25. Meaning we shouldn't be in the negative, or we just wouldn't be there possibly long. Just because we're above it doesn't mean it won't be negative. All right, I'm going to try to get through this a lot quicker. AMDY. Let's check the trades. So yesterday they closed the short call with 148 strike price. The stop price closed at 152.31. So it did end up costing $3.71 a share to close these out. So $1.35 million. So now it looks like they just added, assuming I changed my formulas there, added those to the short call and the bought call that we already have, 3,630 contracts. You can see in the end those prices, the 249. If I read this on all of these, this would be crazy. So just to show you, this one right here, they brought in 249, which equated to 904,000. If they had the bought call, then they paid out $1.17, which cost 424,000. So then together, that would be the net, right, 479,000. So again, I won't do this on all of these. Of course, if you skip this ticker, sorry that you won't see it. I don't remember to tell everything up front. Most of the people that watch these have been watching these for a while and understand how most of this works, even though I know that the bot calls are a little bit different, and whether you know options or not. I tried to break this down, to the best possible so the everyday person could understand what's happening here. Of course, I don't go into depth every single day. So if you are new and if there is something that you need me to explain, please let me know. All right. So we were talking about AMD, so they added, so you can see now here our short call and bought call, we have over 7,000 contracts on those. So we closed at 152.31. We have a strike price of 155. So we're underneath that 2%. Sorry, I was just thinking about something that I mentioned yesterday on yesterday's video, but I'll look at the next ones. But what I was thinking was, I'll just tell you, is that I've noticed with these bought calls that they're doing closer, they're doing the strike prices closer to the actual stock price. So like you see in this case, 2%. Of course, I'm looking at close of day price, and they probably traded it in the morning. So also keep that in mind, right? But possible upside here for the short call, we're looking at about 24 cents on top of the, I know I talk about the synthetic going up, but the bulk call, as you get up closer, that bulk call right there is going to be worth more as well. But right now we're underneath that one by 5%. All right, AMC here, it looks like they closed 300 contracts. So somebody sold out of these, and it's, the way it works. So 300 contracts of the synthetic and the short call. Let's see, we only have one of each. So yeah, they sold out of 300 of each of those. If you want to see the prices, those are there. Overall, they actually brought in $65,000. Alright, so let's move on down to AMZ here. Short call 187.50. We're only underneath that 1%. Then we also have our bought call of 192.50, and we're under that 3%. Possible upside for a short call is about 10 cents a share. All right, Appley. Let's see if we had any trades. We did. So they closed out of the bought call and short call there, or the spread, however you want to hear that. That expired on Friday. So they didn't get but 2 cents a share for the bought call. That's interesting. And they had to pay $212,000 to close this out because they paid $1.14 a share. But if you look, the strike price was $222.50. We closed Friday at $222.50. Like that wouldn't even happen if we planned it, right? And they have no clue when they close this out that this is where this was going to close out at. So it's unfortunate that we paid that much money to close it out. But the bought call did nothing for us for this one, and as you can see, they ended up not buying a call this week, and they just have the short call, or at least in this transaction. We'll see when we go to the holdings, but short call for next week here at $227.50. Actually, they added to that one, which is what I think I remember. I mentioned this the other day about having that bought call there, but then also having the short call out there. Anyway, let's jump on over. So, Appley, we have 3,720 contracts at that $227.50 strike price, which were under only 2%, which is $5. Possible upside here for the short call, about 38 cents. I just thought of something. I need to make myself a note to change something or add something. All right, so I made that note. Sorry, I don't remember what I said here, if I mentioned the fact that there's a 38-cent upside here for the short call. Of course, I do look at this. Our synthetic strike price is $225, so that would be good if we get above that this week. Anyway, we're going to move on to Babu. I don't know why I can't do that. I can't be consistent. Babu. Okay. They closed out the synthetic, or at least 545 shares at a minimum. I don't know if that's all they had. Yeah. Dang it. There we go. So they closed the synthetic, expiring in October, moved it out to November. looking at this. I'm trying to figure out why they did this. I don't know that they needed money because they closed out this short call, the 84 strike price. They did close at 84.69 and they did pay 69 cents. So that's interesting that worked out that way. But it wasn't a lot to close that out. So yeah, I don't know. But they did close it out, brought a little bit of money in. I say a little bit, around $500,000 there. And then closed the $84 strike price for the short call. And now next week we have an $87 strike price. So we look over here to our holdings. Our new short call there, we're underneath that by 3%. Gives us a possible upside for the short call of about 54 cents a share for Babu. All right, let's check Coney. We know we have Coney, right? It's been a freaking hot mess this week. All right, we have lots of stuff going on here, and this stuff is just like on all kinds of out of order. So they must have closed that the day before because they don't have a matching one to go with it. So let's check. They did not. Okay. Maybe they had the extra cash sitting there then. Or new people buying in. But okay. So we had 25,000 there. And then this is the one, 1875. Yeah. Well, we're going to see how this plays out and looking at these things, because I forgot about this right here on those short calls, the short call and bought call adding together there. And if that's still the case, well, I don't know, because now without actually spending some time to look at them and with all the transactions, it's going to be a little bit harder for me. So you can see all these match up. And maybe this fixes the other. And maybe that's what it is. $162 and $172. $162. Yeah. I'm not sure, honestly. Because it almost looks like those first two lines are just reversing, possibly, whatever happened. See, this was fine. It was how it showed up on the, well, okay, I say this was fine. This was fine assuming that these codes were correct, because these codes, if they entered these wrong on their sheet, then they would be wrong on my sheet, which would change everything. But they don't look like they would be. It looks like everything would be fine. I mean, it made sense anyway. What didn't make sense is how they were added to the holdings, and it combined the short call and the bought call here together. So I'm not sure, but my guess would be that this somehow fixes whatever happened to the holdings. And so here's the thing, right? If this was like a brand new, they were, opening 6,640, then there would be synthetics with it, right? And there's not. So that's the first thing that I was just looking at. And looking over here, I wouldn't know if the breakdown is right or not, only because, see, what doesn't make sense, looking here again, well, I don't know. I would have to actually go back the last couple of days and really look at it all together at one sheet, all the transactions and how they should have come together, and whether that happened or not. Because over here, and this went back to the fact. So I just have to keep going back and forth between the days, and then it starts getting confusing on where we're at. And wonder if something got messed up the days before. So anyway, I can't, my head can't go back and forth like this. And we're already too far into this video. Yeah, I don't know if those, but my assumption is those first two lines change something on the holdings, which was weird on the day before. So anyway, we're going to go down to the rest of these. All these other ones, they expired on Friday, and then they've rolled these to the next week. So we had, for our short calls, because it's like all out of order, we had a 160, a 162.50, a 170, nope. A 17, no, my goodness. Okay, let's at least do short call in the same order. There we go. So we had the short calls 160, 162.50, and 167.50. So now this week we'll have 172.50, 172.50, and 172.50. Okay, so they are all rolled to the 172.50. Now if we look at our bought calls, we have a 170, we had a 172.50 and a 177.50, and now they've all went to the 182.50. So lots going on there. If I just add these together here, it costs $2.6 million. And we can see here, this short call they closed out, they were $3 above it. So they had to pay, well, they ended up paying almost $5 to close that out. But on our bought call, yeah, we weren't even near the strike price. So basically got nothing for that. And then if we look at this one, we were above that straight price by 55 cents at the close of the day. But they paid almost $3 to close those out in the middle of the day. And then we had the bought call. As you can see, we were nowhere near that, so we got nothing for that as well. And then this one down here, we were not above this one. We did pay 34 cents to close it out. Again, nowhere near here for our bought call. So our bought calls, we basically got nothing for, because we were nowhere near those prices, even though we were over, half of our short call strike prices. So then if we just go look at our new ones here, we have our new short call. Oh, we already talked about it, 172.50 and 182.50. So lots of confusing things here if you're trying to look at all those like that. We already looked at least the total sums. Now let's look at the holdings again. I can't tell if any of this was combined like it was the other day or not, as far as if any of the well, actually, so if we go here, we could see here how these were separate, and these, well, those matched up exactly, and then this was the one that it was like weird on. So I don't know, that's not, I was just saying maybe that would help us, but I don't think that's going to help know if something was combined or not. So if we look at what the holdings are here, assuming that all of this is correct, we only closed a few cents up on coin. So obviously Coney didn't change, but we only ended a few cents up. That's interesting, coin, because I thought Bitcoin went up on Friday. In fact, it was up to like 60,000. So I wonder why Coinbase didn't go up. But our short calls for this week, 162.50, we're already above that, 55 cents. And then we have the 170 and the 172.50. So upside here for these, I'm going to look at this and say the 162.50 and the 170 will end up canceling each other out. But then that leaves us, 13,000 contracts versus the 22,000 at the 172.50. But some of that one's like so far away. So I don't know. It's hard to look at this one and figure, but I don't know, maybe about, 20 cent upside for those short calls, maybe. Maybe this, having the bought calls here, though, will help us go up a little bit more, because even though, these are going in the negative, which will cancel out some of our upside here for these, then we should see a little upside here for not only our synthetics if it keeps going up, but we can see some upside for those bought calls as well. All right, it's making my head hurt. Okay, hopefully nothing else is as complicated with all this stuff. Let's jump through these. I feel like, though, deja vu. I've already said that once. So Dizzo here, like the order on these. No. Nope. I just wanted to move it up. Move it up. All right, so they closed out the $91 and $90 strike prices there. And you can see they paid 6 cents for one. And then 49 cents for the other, because you can see we actually closed above that strike price. We had a 90 and closed at 9.55. We ended up paying 49 cents for that one. Anyway, now this week we have a 92 strike price there. All right, so just the 92, we're underneath that 2% or $1.45. Possible upside here for the short call, we're about 25 cents. No bought calls here for Dizzo. Then Phoebe, see if we have any trades here. We do, closing out the 527.50 strike price, 26 cents a share. And now this next week we have a 540 strike price. bringing in $2.69. So we have that short call, the 540. We're underneath that 3% possible upside for the short call is about 53 cents. No bought call for Phoebe. GDXY. So they closed out the $38 synthetic strike prices for October, and now we have November synthetics with the $40 strike prices. And on top of that, they've closed out 265 contracts. So you can see that in the difference of the synthetic amounts, and then you can see the line right up underneath that, closing out 265 contracts for the short calls that expire next week. Then they closed out the short calls for this week that expired on Friday with a 38 strike price. Of course, we closed at 40.09, so we closed above the strike price $2.09. They paid $2.06 to close those out. Now next week we have our $41 strike price. So we're not far from that. So we can see we're underneath at 2%. However, that's only 91 cents. Possible upside of about 40 cents here for that short call for GDXY. No bought call. GUI. They closed out the short call and the bought call here. We had 150 and 152.50. And this is actually what I was talking about before, so you get to see an example right here. The strike price was 150, so we were capped there, right? But then we have our bought call at the 152.50, and the stock actually went to 157.46. So we went above that $5, just shy of $5. But in the end, we did get money to offset the cost it closes. The amount it cost us to close out the short call. Sorry. It did offset it, but we still owed another $1 million after that. So then we have our new short call and bought call. And it's just odd because this is Google. This is Alphabet, and it's usually a slow-moving one. Or at least it has been. But it's probably recently due to antitrust stuff. But I think that was Google or Alphabet. So many tickers. But for next week, for a short call, we have a 157.50, which, we're only underneath that 4 cents. We'll see that on the next, on the holdings. And then we have our bought call at the 160. And then you can see our prices. Sorry, I was looking at the prices on the side. All right. So let's look at GUI. So yep, we only have that one short call. We're 4 cents away. So no upside there for the short call itself. But for the bought call, we are underneath that 2%. And then you can also sort of see, here on our market values, how it'll offset it some, if any, right? Well, it's going to be some, I guess. I don't know that I would say if any. I guess if it was way, way down, which we're not saying that at this point, no, I guess there would still always be a positive value, just like the short call is always a negative value. I guess we'll see the more we do these. All right, so no trades for JPMO. We have the short call with a 202.50 strike price, which we're already over by almost $2 or 1%. Then we have our bought call with the 205 strike price, which we're under 68 cents. So no upside here for the short call, but possible upside due to having a bought call and the synthetic. However, both of these stocks did go down Friday. Then we have Murney here. We have the short call, $69 strike price. It did go down, so we're under that now by about 1% or 72 cents. Possible upside is about 9 cents here, which is what we went down. We went down 11 cents the other day. But we do have a bought call with a $76 strike price, but we're underneath that 10%. All right, and then we have MSFO. Closing out of the 415 strike price, expiring in October, and opening up synthetics for November with a 430 strike price. So they brought in, I'm guessing they did that because of the short calls, they brought in 2.3 million. Then they closed out the 420 strike price. The stock was actually at 430.59 at close, so they paid $10.67 and 68 to close those out. Our new strike prices are 440 and 435. So let's look at our overall trades. Yep. So we brought in 900,000 in the end. So they had to close out those synthetics to help pay for the short calls, or they had to roll those synthetics. All right, so if we go over here to MSFO, we can see we have our two short calls now. We have a 435 and a 440. We're underneath those 1% and 2%. Possible upside there of about 10 cents for the short call. No bought call for MSFO. Misty closing out synthetics with the 139 strike, and now we have a 140 strike. Same expiration date of October 18th. So they brought in 3.7 million to do that. So I wonder if that was just like a concentration thing, because it really wasn't to get more money, or not much money anyway. Let's see where they were at. Oh, my head is killing me, y'all. Yeah, so they weren't negative cash, which this was, yeah, I don't know why they don't have hardly anything in Treasury, which I think it's been like that for like a month or so now. But anyway, they had to close out the 132, 131, and 133 strike prices, and MicroStrategy closed at 140, 147. So up to $10 above or up to $10.50 above the strike price. So it costs many, many, many millions of dollars to close those out. So to close all of those out, $34 million. And then the new strike price for this next week is 150. And they brought in 9 million. No bought calls. I feel like, am I losing my mind, or is it just me? I feel like this is the one that should have a bought call on it. But supposedly September is the worst month for Bitcoin, and October is the best month. So I don't know. We will see. That's just what I've heard. I'm not a Bitcoin person, so I don't know. But anyway, Yep, no bought calls, just that one short call now, 150 straight price underneath that 6%. Possible upside for the short call here of $1.24. And then we have Nephle. I didn't look to see what was next. So we do have here Nephle short calls. They closed out the $700 strike price. We were under that, but they paid 49 cents. And then we have a $7.05 strike price going into this week. Yep, so we just have the $7.05 underneath that 1%. Possible upside here for Nephle of about 19 cents for these short calls. And then we go on to NVIDIA. No bought call here either. Like, I don't know. I don't understand. But yeah, no bought call. Short call that expires next Friday, 113 strike price. NVIDIA closed at 119.10. So we're above our strike price by 5%. Bringing the stock price down $1.46 a share. Still going up just a little bit though due to the synthetic. I know this was up in the 120s at one point this week. I wonder why that's blank. I need to look at something just because I see that that's blank. Because if I do these videos and I see something that's wrong, if I don't check it then, I'll forget all about it. Oh, it's blank because there's no possible upside. That's why. Duh. All right. I know that's new. And then I actually changed it and I've made it on the daily, which I haven't been doing the daily because I barely done these. But anyway, so OARC, we had some trades. So OARC here, they closed out the 44.50 strike price. Now we have a 46.50 strike price. OARC did close at 45.76, so we're above that $1.26. It looks like they paid $1.17 to close those out. 1.5 million, bringing in 800,000. So they paid out about 700,000 this week. So OARC here, $45 strike price expires this week. And then we have our 46.50 strike price for our short call. I feel like, I don't know why they didn't do this on Friday, but I feel like we should have just closed out this synthetic while we were actually in the positive and went ahead and moved it out a couple of months. But whatever. There's short call 46.50 underneath that 2%. Possible upside here of 16 cents for OARC short calls. And then Snowy is our next one. So PayPal, we do not have any trades here. Short call, $70 strike price. We're already over that by 10 cents, so no upside for our short calls for this next week. We do have a bought call though, 72.50. We're under that currently 3%. So I will say, looking here, we didn't have any trades, and PayPal went down 26 cents, but PayPay went up 14 cents. So just a note since I was looking at that. And then we have SMCY. Sorry, I was just thinking of something else. Because those other ones, sorry, I know. I'm trying to get this stuff back updated. We were just looking at NVIDIA. Okay, so they just show 0 now here. I don't like that. Now I want the negatives back. I don't know. And now that I think about that, the negatives offset some of the positives for doing this. I don't know. I think I want those negatives back in that column now. I'll have to think about it again before I change the formulas back. But I think I do. Yeah, because if this one, well, this one only has 1. But in this case, if this had 2 short calls, showed a sum of potential upside of 53 cents. But if one of those was negative, say 20 cents, then that would have made this 0.33. And then, yeah, based on looking at that, I need to put those negatives back in there. I know this was something new I was working on. Sorry, sidetrack. So I need to put those negatives back in the possible upside. Otherwise, it won't count when we're actually over. Not that it's going to be perfect, which is why I've made separate columns for ones that have multiple short calls and ones that don't, because it is different. But anyway, sorry, my mind. All right, SMCY, one of our new ones. And if you didn't know, this one started at $50. So the rest of the YieldMax ETFs will probably start at $50 as well. So that was another change going forward. Apologize, I forgot that one at the beginning of the video. But we have a 470 strike price. We're underneath that 3%. Possible upside here for SMCY of $1.42, which is 2.73%. Seems like a lot, but when we do it percentage-wise based off the stock price, it's not as much. Which is why I went to look at a percentage. Sorry. All right. I can't remember. Sorry, let me look real quick. Snowy was the next one. Okay, so Snowy here, they closed the 113 and 115 strike prices. We were at 113.67. Luckily, they closed at 113.67. Luckily, we only had 30 contracts there. So we were, and only had to pay 55 cents to close those out. The other ones were 6 cents. So anyway, 117 strike price going into next week. So that's the only one we have there. We're underneath that 3% possible upside here for that short call of 48 cents a share, and we do not have a bought call for Snowy. SMCY. Okay, so SMCY here, they closed out the short call with a 64 strike price. They paid 84 cents a share to close those out. We actually closed at $63.99, 1 cent below the strike price. But we closed these out earlier in the day at 84 cents. We also closed the bought call out. I don't know if they close these out at the exact same time, if they're like closing a short call out earlier in the day because they think it's going to go up, and if they hold on to the bought call till the end of the day. I mean, that's a lot of work, and then to remember, I don't know, probably not. They probably just do them at the same time to make it easier, but of course in this case they wouldn't have got the 26,000, but anyway. The new short call here, strike price is $66, and that bought call is $69. So still we have that $3 spread in there. All right, so let's look at SMCY. Yep. So we have the 66 strike price. We're underneath that 3%. Possible upside here of about 53 cents for the short call. Then we have the bulk call, $69 strike price. We're underneath that 7%. We also have our synthetic that expires this week. We're underneath that $70. We're $70 and we're underneath that 9%, bringing the stop price down, the squeeze stop price down $1.64 a share. So that sucks for this one. Let's check about Tesla. So we do have some shares or trades here. We have the short call with the that expired on Friday with the 230 strike price. Paid 33 cents to close those out. We did end up closing at 230.29. So we closed 29 cents above the strike price. Sorry there, I was interrupted by my daughter. But I think we were at the new short call for this week, which was a 240 strike price. All right, so let's look. So we have a 2. That's not good for this week. That is not good at all. And we have no bought call. We have the 230 strike price, which we're above, as we already know, by 29 cents. And this is where almost all of our contracts are at. 30,000 contracts. So we're negative 19.3 million. And with that said, there's no upside here for the short calls, which then goes back to what I was saying a while ago. This doesn't make sense here because this would be way negative. Therefore, making this way negative, the sum of those two, therefore putting it like at the end of like my list of possible upsides. So yeah, and then of course we had the 241 we just had. We are underneath that 4%, but we only have 1,000 contracts there. So yeah, that's not doing anything for us. And again, no bought calls. So we're going into this next week already capped here. Obviously, we can still go up some cents for the synthetics. All right, TSMY. They added 60 contracts to the synthetic, created a new short call with a 180 strike price. So that's the first 3 lines. Then we go into them closing the 167.50 and the 170 strike prices. Of course, they were over both of those. So, yeah, paid $5.83 and $3.29 a share to close those out. No bought calls here for this one either. And then, of course, we have the 180 strike price there. So we just have the one strike price out of all of those. Of course, all the numbers there, TSMY, and you can see the 180 strike price. We're underneath that 4% possible upside for TSMY of 85 cents for next week. Why are we, well, it seems so far, but it's only 4%, but anyway. All right, that's 85 cents upside for the short call. Again, no bought calls here for TSMY. Zomo, no trades there. And then we'll go into all those shorts. Lots of closing outs. So Zomo here. We have a short call for 112. We're underneath that 1% or 85 cents. Possible upside here for the short call of 12 cents. All right, then we have our bought call at the 114 straight price, which we're under 3%. And then we go into these shorts. So for Crash, they closed out of 50 contracts altogether. So that's why you have a bunch of closes with the 50s. And then you'll see a reduction between the short put that expired on Friday to the short put that expires next week from 627 to 577. But we went from a 217.50 strike price to a 220 strike price. So we moved up a little bit there for the short put. So if we move over here, we can see that short put there, 220, and we're above that by 5%. Then we have the dips, and the reason I have this highlighted on the left because this was documented as being in VIDI, and it was not. These trades were actually for the dips, so I did end up changing it, and then I just left it as red. Usually if something's wrong, I'll just mark it as red and don't change it, but yeah, I changed it for this one, otherwise you wouldn't know. So anyway, you can see they've closed out 100 contracts across the board there. And then just to look at these, it's going to be the same story, right? Fiat below it, closing out 115 contracts across the board. And then for YQQQ, they closed out 7. However, in this case, they did not close out the long call for this one. They've mentioned before they can leave the long calls open, in case something actually happens, because they don't get much to close them out. Like this one was only 12 cents. I don't know what it would have been for this long call. I don't know why, this is one of those that they would have closed this one versus leaving this one open. Same thing here. They only got $1. Well, only $1.20 is actually quite a bit, but when you look here, it's only 12,000. So I don't know if it's different people. I don't know if they have a set thing. So same thing up here, but they did get $2. I don't know if they have if it's under 5 cents or 10 cents, then just leave it open. I don't know what their thing is there, but the only one they didn't close the long call on was the YQQQ. So we went over crush. So dips here, we can see we have the short put with the 111 strike price, and we're above that 7%. And then for fiat, we have 2 short puts. We have a 143 and 150. We are above those 14 and 9%. And then YQQQ, we see our short put here. I'm sorry, I'm looking. We have our short put here of actually, I don't even know that makes sense. Let me look at something. Sorry, and then I got a text message when I went to look at something. So, okay. Yeah, so those long calls, to me, so again, I am not an options person, but I am looking. Now I wish I'd bring it up on my, well, let's see. I got lots of stuff in. What was I gonna bring up? Moo. Oh, I did have Moo open. Crap. All right. So, okay, I'm going to show you what I'm looking at. Of course, I don't think my trend lines and all that stuff is going to pull over, which not that it matters. QQQ, because it is on the QQQ. So January. Let's just just make this easy here. Okay, you can see our historical high is 500. Now, we were, at the beginning of the year, we were at about, okay, so that's about January, we were about 400. So we've gone up $100 in the past, I don't even know it, we're in September. In 9 months, we've gone, well, we went up $100 in 7 months, I guess, because that was July. $100 in 7 months. These long calls here that they're putting on, I just, the expirations are only out in this case, 1 month or 2 months. And I just don't know why the long calls are that far out, because, and we're paying for these. So I don't know why I would put out a long call of $100 that far out. I mean, when we did that over 7 months and we're looking at 1 or 2 months out. I don't know. What am I missing? Maybe that's what we want. Maybe we want it far out so that there's no way that it'll go above it. I don't know. I don't know why. I guess maybe that's what we want. I don't know. Maybe that's what I'm not capturing, or maybe I'm missing something there. I don't know. Hold on, I have to stop again. I'm being told to hurry up. So, we're going to move on. I don't think we had any YBet. No. So, YBet here, we have our synthetics and short calls. They all expire this next week. Synthetics, $28 strike price. We're underneath that 35%. And we have our short calls, $18 strike price and $18.50. So YBet was at $18.12. So we're already above the one strike price, 1%, and under the other one, 2%. We have about even split shares here. I don't know, maybe a few cent upside here for the short call. It says 14 cents. We're not quite to the center of the other complete cancellation, so there still might be a couple of cent upside here, but not too much there for YBet. All right, let me open this only because of this down here. So of course we have a YMAG. If y'all cared to see this data, I'll just scroll out now or zoom out. All right, and then we have our YMAX down here, where we have our synthetic for Moderna, $85 strike price there. And we have 2 short calls now for this next week. We have a 68 and a 72 strike price. And I know I don't have the difference. I guess I should put that down here. But we're above that $68 strike price, right? And actually, no. Hold on. So I don't get the trades here for YMAX and YMAG. And I'm going to be honest with you, I didn't go back and check all the prospectuses to see which ones changed and which ones did not. So let me look at something. Let me look at yesterday's. Shoot, it was there yesterday. How long has that been there? All right. So, September 12th holdings. So that was the end of day on the 11th. They had a short call with the 81 strike price. They, I guess, closed that out the next day on the 12th. All right. So now I'm guessing this means that they can do a bought call. So I can see here that this one is negative and that this one is positive. So that's telling me, again, me not going back and reading the prospectuses, I assume that means that they can do bought calls also in YMAX and YMAG. Of course, without changing my formula down here, this is just going to change it this 1 second. But based on that being negative and this being a positive, that tells me this one's a bought call. Which means, let's see, so Moderna. I know I'm doing this the wrong way. I'm sorry. If it makes you feel any better, I'm making myself have a headache even more scrolling. So let's look here, because I can find the price easier. Moderna. So Moderna, we actually went down. So we were at 68.28. So we're not above that too much. I don't know why we went back down, but we're just right above that short call price. But yeah, so it looks like we have bought call here also. Alright guys, I know, long video. I warned you up front. Sorry, apologize. I don't know how this next week will go with videos. So at least now you have this one to start the beginning of next week. You know where all your strike prices are going into it. And then, I don't know. I'll see if I have time to do videos next week. I don't even know if y'all even really care, like, throughout the days. I don't know if y'all care about the trades. I don't know if y'all prefer to just have one on Monday so you can see where our strike prices are at. I don't know. So y'all let me know in the comments. But anyway, I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.